Did you know that there were hotels in Qatar Stadium and balconies with a view of the game? Did you know that there were supermarkets inside of the Qatar Stadium? Did you know that there were 8 Qatar stadiums? Did you know that one of 8 Qatar stadium will be disassembled after the World Cup? The stadium won't exist anymore. Did you know that the Qatar Stadium had an air conditioning? The Arab states are known for their breathtaking architectures and structures. And with Qatar hosting this year's World Cup, to their well-designed air conditioning system and to their never-seen-before unique stadiums, here is everything you need to know before the World Cup 2020. Qatar will have 8 stadiums. That's right, 8 stadiums with their own unique and amazing features. Let's start off with Bayt Stadium. The name of the stadium is taken from the word Bayt al-Shahar, which means tent. The design of the stadium pays homage to these traditional tents used by nomadic people of Qatar to fight against the hot desert climate. And the stadium even looks like a tent. Not only is the tent theme visible from outside the stadium, but also from inside. Inside the stadium, you can see tent-like patterns on the seats and even on walls. This tent-like structure also allows as a way to shade the pitch and the spectators from the sun, so they have an enjoyable time watching the games. The stadium even has a retractable roof to cool down and manage the hot climates of Qatar. But that isn't everything. The stadium is more than just a football arena. Inside of the stadium, you can find 5-star hotels and a shopping center. Within the 5-star hotel is a balcony view of the football field. So if you have enough money, you can basically watch a football match in the comfort of your own room's balcony. This stadium will include 8 games and even the opening match, Qatar versus Ecuador. Janoub Stadium. The stadium was designed by the British-Iraqi architect Zaha Hadid. She sadly passed away before she could witness the beautiful futuristic-looking stadium she conceived. The stadium indeed looks very futuristic. Unlike most square stadiums, this has an oval-like shape mimicking the sails of traditional Doha boat used by pearl divers and fishers. The stadium's curve and design give the spectator a feeling of being on a ship. The seats of the stadium also have wave design. This boat-like theme is a wonderful nod to the seafaring history of Al Waqra, where the stadium is located and pays homage to his history. Just like the other stadium, this one also has a retractable roof and a cooling system that cools down the air up to 18 degrees. The goal of this infrastructure isn't only to have a cool looking stadium, but also to have an extension for the city that allows community-based activities around and inside the stadium on non-event days. A funny fact about this stadium before we move on, when the design was first released of the stadium to the public, commentators and people said it looks like a woman's private part. Ahmad Bin Ali Stadium. This stadium is located in the gateway to the desert in Qatar. This stadium facade is composed of patterns that characterize the different aspects of the country. 80% of the material used during the stadium construction were recycled material or repurposed material from old stadiums. After the end of the World Cup, this stadium will be home to a local footballing team, Al Rayyan Sport Club. Next up, we have Thumama Stadium. Named after a native tree, this stadium was built and inspired around the traditional gafia, a traditional cap popular amongst Arab men in Arab countries. This explains the unique and round-looking shape of the stadium and is planned to be at the heart of the World Cup Stadium, featuring 8 games and a quarterfinal. This stadium is located in a 500,000 square meters area, and around it are pleasant public parks covered with greenery. The stadium's capacity is 40,000, but after the World Cup, like most stadiums, the upper part will be removed and donated to developing countries. In the upper parts, where the 20,000 seats will be removed, a boutique is in the construction plans, as well as a sports clinic and a mosque, featured inside the stadium to serve community after the World Cup. Educational City Stadium. This stadium doesn't have the best name out of the 8, but its nickname sure does. It was named after its location, Educational City. and nicknamed Diamond in the Desert. The nickname was given after its design and diamond-shaped facade. The stadium also has a diamond-shaped structure, and one of its coolest and most aesthetically pleasing feature is how these diamond patterns shimmer and change color as the sun moves across the sky. The Diamond in the Desert Stadium is the most environmental, sustainable stadiums in the world. 29% of the stadium's material came from green sources and recycled material. The stadium also has a cooling system and a carbon dioxide sensor that assures ventilation and air quality when needed. Around the stadium are a bunch of universities. This stadium will host 8 World Cup games, including a quarterfinal. Up next, Khalifa International Stadium. Named after Qatar's former emir, this stadium is Qatar's national stadium. And not only is it used for football, but also for various different sports, such as the Asian Games, the Arabian Golf Club, and more. To improve fans' experience, the stadium has air cooling ventilation and LED lighting systems. No matter where you are in the stadium, the air is always kept at a cool temperature. Around the stadium, there is a vast complex of sports centers, shops, and restaurants. To put in perspective what I'm talking about, they have around the center an Olympic-sized swimming pool, as well as a Fire Dome, which is the world's largest multi-purpose sport hall, and they even have what I think is the coolest feature, the Villaggio Mall, a shopping mall inspired by the Italian's landscape in Venice and features a 150-meter long indoor canal. Unlike most stadiums, since it's the national stadium of Qatar, the seats won't be removed after the World Cup. 8 matches will be played in this stadium, including the third place playoff, which is the 2 losers of the quarterfinals. Up next, the biggest one of them all, Lusail Stadium. This stadium is the biggest and largest of Qatar's 8 stadiums with a seating capacity of 80,000. This stadium will host 10 games, which is the most games out of any other 8 Qatar stadiums. It will even host the final. The stadium design is inspired and pays homage to the Fnar lantern and the traditional handcrafted bowl of the Middle Eastern culture. The stadium's facade has a triangular golden pattern to make Qatari's sun bounce off the panel. The entire structure has 0 carbon footprints. Just like most stadiums, after the end of the World Cup, the upper parts of the seat will be removed and donated to developing countries. And instead of the seats, will be repurposed for community spaces like sporting shops, coffee shops, health clinics, food outlets, etc. Up next, Stadium 974 is the most unique out of the bunch. Its name pays homage to Qatari's international dialing code 974. The stadium, looking at it from outside, looks unfinished, or rather a bit like a skeleton. 974 recycling shopping containers were used to construct this stadium. Inside of the stadium, the bathrooms also are made with containers, and so are the stadium's outer walls. The stadium is the first ever temporary stadium that will host the World Cup. That's right, after the end of the World Cup, this stadium will be disassembled and won't exist anymore. Instead of the stadium will be a waterfront development. They did this by fear of being stuck with an expensive stadium they can't fill, therefore wasting money. After the end of the World Cup, with the deconstruction of the stadium, the seats, steels, and shopping containers will be provided as an assistant to underdeveloping countries worldwide. If you want to see my World Cup 2020 prediction, you can watch this video right here. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe. I have been Football Man, and I'm out.